You'll notice a new background here. We're trying a new chapel format. We did it in the high school on Tuesday. I think it went pretty well. So we got a few of the bugs worked out, and so we're going to do it here as well. So we're going to do a talk show style format. So it's going to bring in guests, and we're going to talk about relevant, timely topics in kind of a fun, conversational way. It's going to be quickly moving and so on, but it's all designed to help you think biblically about whatever it is that we're talking about. Okay? So the topic that we're going to talk about today is words. Right? And so you're going to get a chance to hear some words, to think about words, and so on. You'll actually get to present some questions. You'll notice right here a phone number. If you have a question about anything that's presented during this chapel, at any time during the chapel, preferably early to mid, text that number. It will come to my phone. 8th graders, we did this last year, if you recall, and it went really well. So this just goes to a Google number. It comes to my phone. It's anonymous. I don't know who it is, but it gives you a chance to ask questions. And what I found last year is the junior high asked really thoughtful questions. All right. So at any moment, you can pull it out. You can text in your question. We're going to choose as many as we can, and our guest will answer it. All right. So make it a thoughtful question. Make it a serious question. Make it an honest question. So there's a trust factor involved here because we're letting you use your phones during chapel. So understand this. It should take you about 15 seconds or less to text a question, which means if your head is buried for any longer than that, there's a good chance you're screwing around. So this is one of the things. We'll do it if it works. Last year it worked really well. Let's keep it going. 8th graders, you set a good example last year. 7th graders, let's keep it up. All right, so it should be just kind of a quick hit, and this number will stay up on all the slides, and we'll take questions. So it's a really cool way to interact. Let's use it well. All right. So as we talk about words, I want to give you an introduction to the idea of words because we've never lived in a more word-heavy society. As a culture, we talk a lot. The question is, are we saying much of anything? So here's an example of where a generation gap exists in words. And on the one hand, it's pretty funny, but it could also be a little scary. Enjoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, the baby boom generation is probably the most educated generation in American history. But do they know anything about the things that young people know about today? On the other hand, do people under 21 know anything about what happened in the days before they were born? We went to Universal Studios and we found people over 40 and paired them with people under 21 just to see what each generation knew about each other. And this is fascinating sociological study. We're talking with Amy, and you're how old?
20.
20, and you're?
Daryl Saylor, 42.
42, and you're the father?
Yes.
So what is a badunkadunk?
Women's
Posterior. A woman's posterior. Is that how you refer to it when you're with the guys? Why, look at that woman's posterior. No. All right, that's correct, sir. What is a fluffernutter?
I don't know.
Peanut butter and marshmallow sandwich.
Had a few of those, have you, sir? Help out the old posterior? You're taking your daughter to get some kicks. What would you be getting?
I have no idea why
Cereal.
that just happened.
No? You seem very food-oriented. Fluffernutters, cereal. What are kicks?
Shoes.
Shoes, sir.
Enjoy the small
So what is
screen.
a weed?
I've never seen that happen before.
Going to the bathroom in the trees.
What is the bathroom in the trees? No, I'm sorry. What is a weed?
The newest Nintendo.
It's the newest Nintendo game. It's the newest version of Pong, sir. We're talking with Gloria. Can I ask you how old you are?
75.
75. And you're?
Danielle.
And how old are you?
20.
20, okay. What does faux shizzle mean?
I have no idea. Sounds bad.
Sounds bad?
find out.
What's for shizzle mean?
Like, for sure.
For sure, it means you agree, yeah. Like say for shizzle.
Okay. Or shizzle? Okay.
We got mother versus daughter here. Let's see who knows more about the Yost generation. What's your name?
Jessica,
Jessica, and you're how old?
14.
14, and you're?
Andrea,
And how old are you?
43.
You're still a kid. All right, let's see. Mom, what is a player? If your daughter comes home and says, oh, I met a guy, he's a real player. Good, bad?
No, it's a good thing.
It's a good thing. No, it's not, Mom. No, you see, this is helping you now. When your daughter comes home and says, I met a guy who's a real player, you're not going to go, great, I'm thrilled. Mom, what is going commando?
Going commando? I would think it has something to do with a computer game or something.
Computer game. Uh-oh. Going commando means what?
No underwear?
No underwear. Your daughter's met a real player if she's going commando. Whatever you do, Mom, get away from that. You don't want that.
So, in the example of that only happens when everybody's in the room, I don't know, I apologize for the small screen. But, so to help us talk about words today, because you're growing up in a culture that has unprecedented opportunity to communicate, but to also really erode your credibility and really reflect both yourself and Christ poorly, we've got to be really thoughtful. We've got to be really careful. So to help us think about these things, please welcome the junior high pastor from Westminster Chapel, Mr. Brandon Hall. Yeah. All right. Your mic should be on. All right. Brandon graduated here 2007.
Good year. Yeah, I'm on the wall.
Yeah, you're on the wall. That's right.
Yeah, I took a picture and put it on Facebook just now.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did. No likes.
I saw it. Yeah, a little dark. Well, enjoy the small screen as well.
Cool.
So, in thinking about words, when what was your aha moment where you realized, okay, words have a lot of power. There's more going on than just me being clever or good with words.
Can I just say, I've always wanted to be on a talk show, so this is really exciting.
Thank you for being
seriously,
here with me. Appreciate it.
I like watching Jimmy Fallon, not that we're advocating for any particular show, but I've always wanted to be in a talk show, so this is really exciting, and I want to give a shout out to the students at Westminster, Jack Syrick in particular. Love him. Give him a hug if you see him. Yeah, there you go. Awesome. Love him. Anyway, when I realized the power of words, there were a couple different instances, but I was thinking about my older sister, because I have an older sister who's 2 years older than me, and whenever she would like pick on me, I realized that because she was bigger than me, I couldn't do anything to like get back at her, but I'd always say something, and I'd always try and say something really cutting, and I realized that was kind of my defense mechanism for my family, and that was kind of when I was a kid. And then kind of a more sad example was when I was in 2nd grade. I went to school up in Lake Stevens, and there was a kid that on the playground, he was like in 4th or 5th grade, and he said to me, I think God like burnt you when he made you, and that's why you're so dark. And that was when I was in 2nd grade, and I remember knowing that he was obviously joking, but it hurt a lot. And I realized that even as a 2nd grader, knowing he was joking, the power of words that had on my life. And so that was from a young age, I realized that words had great power.
What should, like if you were to say, okay, here's a Christian view of words. Here's a Christian view of speech. How would you, what's your elevator speech? You got 30 seconds to phrase it. What would it be?
I mean, to not be overly simplistic, but words are powerful. And it comes to mind James chapter 3, which likens the tongue to fire, that it has the power of life and death. And so I think something that you said was really impactful, that words have a lot of weight and they have a lot of power. And I think that sometimes we, and myself included, can be really careless with our words, and it could hurt people if we're not careful, or it could be really careless. Words are powerful, and so be careful with how you use them.
What's a careless use of words?
For shizzle? Just kidding. I think not thinking before you speak. I think not realizing the impact that you could have on somebody just by what you say to them, whether it be on Facebook or Twitter or in person, how you affect people by what you say, and also how people understand who you are based on what you're saying.
Do you look at typed words and spoken words the same way?
You mean like on Facebook or on Twitter? Yes and no. I think that it's kind of funny when people write things on Facebook that you know that they would never say in real life. Have you guys ever experienced something like that? You see somebody post a status and you're like, they would never say that in real life. Like, what are you even talking about? Or they complain about somebody, or they complain about school, or they complain about their parents. You're like, do you know that your parents have a Facebook and they could see that? And so I do see them as similar, but it's kind of funny because Facebook is kind of this alternate reality that you could think that if you could put something on Facebook that nobody else is going to see it.
What should be the defining characteristics of a Christian's vocabulary or speech?
You want to say that question one more time?
So what should be the defining characteristics of a Christian's speech or word choice?
I would say that as a Christian, your words should be, the Bible will call it edifying, but to put it in plainer terms, they should be uplifting. And I know that that's something that I struggle with like sarcasm or offhanded jokes or whatever that are kind of cutting in nature. But I would say that the Bible would teach us to be uplifting in the way that we speak to each other and about people, that we should always seek to lift people up in how we speak as opposed to putting people down.
Yeah, we'll talk about humor in a little bit, because humor is where the things get gray, at least
Sure,
in our
absolutely.
our culture here.